Okay. One. Oh. Hello and welcome. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Hi. Welcome to my favorite podcast with your favorite intro. I'm
You're good at that.
One of your favorite co-hosts, Sarah Nan Sweeney.
And I am a skin suit full of bugs that was brought to life by the devil. I am in constant pain. And my name is Ty Turner.
You look like a statue of Mother Mary. Is this because teenagers made out in front of your abandoned house?
Did you see that? Isn't that wild?
I was just like, but why? And then everyone's like, they probably thought it was abandoned. I'm like, why would they think that, though?
Well, to be fair, this building is very creepy. And I, at one point, thought it was abandoned too. And I'm like, shot a portion of my music video right on the front step. So like, I can't even judge them. It's scary, both inside and out.
So you were like, oh, it's not abandoned? How much is the rent?
Exactly. That is exactly it. And it was a great deal. It's in a great location. I can't beat it. So I'm here. But dude, I pulled up and I had just gotten groceries. So I pulled up and these people, like if you see the photo on my Twitter, which you're referencing, they're just sitting on like my balcony, just making out. And so I like took the picture like from my car window, like in the parking space right in front of my house,
Mm-hmm.
And like the guy turned around and looked at me whenever I first pulled up, and then he just turned back around and kept making out. So I got out of the car and I was like, well, they know I'm here, so it's not like I'm gonna scare them or anything. Like, I don't mean to interrupt, but you're aware of my presence, so I'm just gonna keep going. So I get all of my groceries out of the car and I put them on the sidewalk and I close my car and I lock it, and I'm like carrying my groceries up the stairs, and they both just stop and look at me, and I was like, hi. The guy goes, do you live here? And I was like, yeah, as I'm unlocking the door with all my groceries in my hand.
I'm the ghost that haunts these parts. Like, what do you think?
And he was like, oh, sorry, we thought this was an abandoned building. And like for the first time, I looked at the person he was making out with, and she had like, her face was bright red, but like not because she was like embarrassed or something. Like her skin had turned red. I don't know if she was very sunburnt or if like she was just really drunk or something. I don't even know if she was like maybe in the hives, but she was like, she had like the glossiest expression on her face, and she's like leaning back like that, and she just like nods. And I was like, okay, well, it's better than you guys trying to sell me something. So, you can hang out here if you want. And they were like, it's okay, we'll leave. And they just walked away. And I was like, that's so fucking strange. What is my life? Living downtown is constantly wild. Like, I've had a lot of weird stuff happen on my front porch actually living down here, and it could possibly be because it is really run down looking, and like the concrete is like cracked and there's like stains and stuff. I mean, it's not disgusting. You can just tell this is a very old building. When prom was happening, so many people were taking pictures out there, like weddings. It's like wedding season right now.
They want like a shack behind them. Like they want like a rundown building behind them.
Yeah, I think they like that like cracked up vintage look, because like there's concrete and then underneath it is brick, and so in some parts like the concrete is broken off and you can see brick, so maybe it's like an interesting texture for the photographs. I don't fucking know. Everyone's into that like farmhouse chic shit around here. They like that kind. They got their cowboy boots on. They're standing on my front stairs. I'm like, hi, I just need to take my recycling out to the street. Thanks. Don't mean to get in your fucking photo, folks.
What is downtown Arkansas like?
Well, if the state had a downtown, I would be able to tell you. No, it's cute. Like the town that I live in, we have like a historic downtown. And there's like a bunch of little shops and cafes and like a thrift store and places to eat. It used to not be this cute. It used to literally just be like old ass businesses, like lawyers and shit. And like I don't know. It used to mostly be not somewhere where you would like expect foot traffic, but they've gone in and redone it. Now it's all like this hipstery shit. There's like a vegan market, which is dope because it's like a block from my house. And I would have never expected that. Except, I mean, some there isn't vegan, but it's like the only place in town you can get vegan stuff. So that's pretty dope. there's a lot of shit. And so it's actually really cute, and like a lot of people are down here all the time, and they keep up with the parks really well. So it's like if I was going to live anywhere in this town, I would want to live here. But it is strange because I've grown up living in the country my whole life, and now that I'm living downtown, there's people by my door, you know, on my fucking porch. The other day I walked out in my underwear. Like, well, I had on a shirt, but I was in boxers, and I was just trying to like help my grandparents. Well, my grandma and my aunt came to bring me some stuff, so I was helping them carry it in. And when I walked out there, this was one of those times when someone was taking a photo on my front porch. And so I go out there and I'm like, sorry, the paparazzi found me. And they were like, put on some pants tie. Yeah. So, you know, it's fine. Oh, and then there was this one time when prom happened. There's an event center right next door to me. It's like called the Ballroom, and they have like weddings, and they host a bunch of dumb shit there, I guess. Well, the cool stuff probably to the people who are attending, but to the neighbor, not very cool. But they had prom there, and so all these prom students were walking by my house all night and all afternoon, and so you know, just you know how I am. I have this like big hunting knife that's like
of course you do.
A very large knife, like this long probably. And I just opened my window and I just stood by the window holding.
Why?
It was cool, you know, just
in
to
your
fuck
like
with
abandoned
people.
house.
And it looks like an abandoned building. Wait, I just realized how threatening that actually was.
Oh no.
That's awesome. So how have you been? Where do you live? What's your address? Put it on the screen.
How many times I post something and people are like, Aaron, your address and social security number's on that. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh no. It's so scary.
Well, one, I learned yesterday that postal codes aren't unique to the house. They're unique to the street. I didn't know that. It took me 25 years to learn that. So that's...
What do you mean? Like if your address says
your zip code.
Central Street? Oh, your zip code.
Yeah, I thought that zip codes were like a different one for every house, but apparently, I don't know if it's the same.
It's not even the street, it's the city.
Oh.
It's
cool.
That's why you write the street name and then the city has the code.
That's what Karina said. She's like, if zip codes were unique to the address, then why do you need an address? Yeah. And I was like, no, it's your address, but it's numeric. It's a code for your address. And it's like, no, it isn't, Aaron. It's not how that works.
I've had the same zip code in every house that I've lived in this town. So I'm gonna take a guess that that's not it, man.
I'm gonna take a gander and yeah. Well, I learned that yesterday. Also, question: is there only one prom where you live? Because you're like the prom, like capital T the
yeah
P prom.
Yeah, there's one high school here. It's a small town, man. What are you talking about? You have multiple proms? I mean, there's one every year. But
yeah,
it's just the one high school that does it.
No, hang on, I'm gonna do a quick Google. I don't want to watch me destroy Skype because I opened the internet. How many proms? No, how many high schools in Montreal? As if Google's gonna just give me an answer. Listen,
I get it. I know that in big cities there's like different regions and different regions and districts and whatever the fuck. Not me. We have like 12,000 people in my town. And we've
Montreal
grown.
is wild because it's actually a really small island. Like you could bike around the island. Like it's not that big. We just have a lot of shit on the island. So it's like 50 schools, but like not that much room. Like the schools are right next to each other.
An island?
Yeah, Montreal's an island.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Hey man.
No.
Come to the islands. Not like that. Okay. Shit. I thought you were about to spark up, go fucking surfing.
That's
fucking
me.
Get your little umbrella in your drink.
Yes.
Jump off the pier in concrete boots. Sorry, cut it. I gotta write down the time code.
No.
Where are we? Oh no, we're gonna keep it.
Ooh, I mean, we could. We could cut it if you wanted.
Let's earn that explicit tag this week. I'm sick of fucking putting it on there just for the F word. Let's get into the true edge.
Are we supposed to put explicit? Like, is that our, like, do we do that?
Yes. Did you do that for the last one?
No.
Okay.
I just looked at it and I was like, I wonder how long it takes for it to say explicit. Oh, well. I thought I just, like, detected. It was like, ooh, was that a cuss?
It's fine. Well, no one's going to come knocking down our door. It looks abandoned.
French.
This building is so scary though. So I'm in one room of this entire building that used to be a church. And 2 of the rooms are locked. Well, 3 rooms are locked. I'm not allowed to go in there. There's a guy that lives next to me, but not in, it's like in the same building, but it's completely separate to where like we could not go into each other's space if we wanted to without going outside. I think that he lives in like the congregation part where all the pews were and like the worship. And I live in like the Sunday school part where like the office and like the, I don't know, the fucking business church part of it.
Business church.
Business church.
I love when churches get turned. I mean, I don't because it's scary, but I also love them because it's like, what did they do? It's okay, but also there's like so much history there, and I want you to sleep tonight, but I'm just like, do you hear like singing children at night? Because that's what I imagine you would hear.
Oh, bro, did you see my Instagram story a few months ago? Whenever I was first moving in here, when I tried to film a video and I could not get any clean audio without voices in the background.
I'm sorry. Yes, and I remember that, and I was like, what?
Yeah, and I tried every different setup, and I Googled it a million times. Like, I tried everything I could think of, even with zero audio input to the camera whatsoever, and I had manually put on audio and turned it all the way down. There should have been no sound on that clip, still voices.
Oh man, Halloween's gonna be wild this year on Ty Turner's channel. Tune in for that.
That's right. But yeah, so there's like, it's like I come into my building and it's just long hallway and there's rooms on either side, and I have one of the rooms, but there's like 4 others, and one of them has a washer and dryer in it, and it's like, this is one that I am allowed to go in. It's like a laundry room / storage space. But you can tell that like it definitely wasn't made for any of this because the dryer vents into the room, and so if you dry anything, like it's humid and probably illegal. But like it's cool. Like, this place is fucking scary as shit, but it's cool. I love it here.
Have you ever seen a ghost? Like, not even there, like in your life. Like, have you seen a ghost?
Oh shit.
Ghost story.
Oh, totally. Let's do ghost stories. Fuck our
Can we do
original
ghost
subject.
story?
Yeah, let's talk about ghosts.
Happy Pride, everyone. Let's talk. We're gonna talk about ghosts, though. I just want to say it. Like, Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, folks. First day of Pride.
Listen, I wore the shirt, but first day of Pride, let's get spooky. Still better than like corporate Pride nonsense. So honestly, yeah, I was gonna make a really terrible Pride joke, but I was like, I'm not gonna fucking do it. I don't want to have to cut it out.
Thank you for sparing us. Yeah, let's fucking go.
Let's go. Let's go. Tell me your best ghost stories. My mom's a medium. I'm ready for this.
My mom's it's not polite to ask a lady her size. I don't know, but
I fucking knew it. I was just like, go, say the joke, do it. I want to do the bit. It's a good bit.
I had to get that build up there, that suspension.
So tell me your best ghost stories,
bro. Oh man, I am so like this and that on the subject because forever I always believed in them. Whenever I was a kid, I don't know if I just had a wild imagination or if I am literally Satan himself incarnate, which would be so fucking dope. But where's my powers, I used to see and hear a lot of stuff that wasn't really there. Could be a lot of explanations for that. I think my favorite one is ghosts, because the other ones are all about me, and I don't like that.
Yeah, no, it's the ghosts.
So I got in trouble as a kid one time because I told my sister that there was a woman in my grandparents' house, and my grandparents' house is fucking creepy. And even as an adult, well, not an adult, well, I lived there when I was like 17, and I was still like, oh yeah, this is fucking as creepy as I remember it. I wasn't just a scared little kid. Like, this place sucks. Not, it doesn't suck. It's just spiritually thick. So okay. I got in trouble because I used to tell my sister that there was a woman that would walk up and down the halls in a long black dress every night. And, I don't really know anything else about that other than I told her that.
But was it true, or were you just like, hey, watch this?
I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember. I have a lot of little bits and pieces of my childhood missing for one reason or another. That time there's a lot missing.
Understandable. Yeah. Good. I'm glad you traumatized your sister. Do you want some ghost stories?
Yeah. Tell me yours. That's not my best one. That's just one that I can recall as like an example of, I don't know if I had an overactive imagination as a kid because I really can't remember. but I do have ghost stories that like I have told other people. Oh, I actually do remember one that was very significant. You go first.
Are you sure? Because that sounded like good. Okay. Some people probably heard this story. This is my most vivid memory of ghosts, and the same with me. I'm like, I don't.
If you've told it before, I've definitely heard it, and if this is the one that I'm thinking of, when you gave like, there's like maybe like a little reveal in there, like a ooh kind of moment. When you did that, and I was hearing it when you told it, my stomach dropped. I was so fucking scared. Yes, I'm ready for this.
I have a couple of them. There are two that I usually like the most vivid, but my most vivid memory of when I like saw a ghost, and again, I don't know if it's like I saw a ghost or if it's just like, my mom talks to dead people and I was a young child that, believed in it. So anyway, my dad is like super into his health, like super duper fit guy. And every day he wakes up at like 5 a.m. to exercise, and my bedroom was facing the hallway, and it's a long ass hallway. So he usually takes his weights and he does lunges across the hallway, and he does like his squats and does all this stuff with his weights. And it was dark outside, so I figured it must be 5 a.m. already. But like I see him in the hallway, and I look at him, and I was just like trying to like not wake up my brother, but ask him like what are you doing? Like, you working out? And I'm just like this, and he's just like eh. And so I look to try and like see the time on the clock, and I obviously have my glasses on because I'm sleeping, so I can't really tell what time it is. And well, actually, first when I was looking, sorry, I was like, I'm trying to remember, like this is a real thing that happened, so there's an order of events. So I look at my dad in the hallway, and he like goes like down, like it looks like he's doing squats or about to do push-ups or something. So I figure he must be working out. So then I look at the clock, and then I look back, and he's like right the fuck in front of me because my bed is right there at the door of the hallway. And I freak out, and I turn on the lights, and there's like nobody there. And like, my parents got freaked out and all this shit, but like there was no one was in the house. My parents thought someone probably fucking broke in, obviously. But yeah, that scared the shit out of me because I thought he was like doing exercises or some shit. And I'm like, I don't have my glasses. So for me, I'm like, it's just some guy. Like I thought it was my dad. And when I checked the time and I looked back, he was a fucking centimeter from my face. I'm glad that I was like right there, like where the light switch was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my most vivid ghost memory story.
That's the one.
Sleep paralysis. Who knows?
That's the one that I had heard from you that fucking freaked me out.
Yeah. It was
looking back up at him fucking real life jump scaring you. That's fucked up.
Yeah, like IRL jump scare. It's like really vivid in my mind. So that's why I'm like, it really stuck with me as I got older. Because I was like, I saw it and it happened. It could have, now as an adult, I'm like, maybe it was sleep paralysis. Who knows? But then why would I be sitting up in bed or kneeling next to the light?
But what if sleep paralysis is actually demons and ghosts and shit? Like, yes, it is something that like a lot of people experience. But what if it's supernatural?
Yeah, what if sleep paralysis is just astral projecting? What if you're just in another world? Like you're just
oh my god. Might be. I've had some fucking weird sleep paralyses. But well, whenever I was like 12, I got super into lucid dreaming, and I got pretty good at it where I could pretty much almost always tell if I was in a dream, and I could get to the point where I could control it. Took a lot of practice, but it was really fun. So then, I always had sleep problems growing up. I could never sleep at night. And this was one way that actually helped me get to sleep because I'd be very excited to be able to control my dreams because I could, make anything happen. And it was like...
DIY virtual reality, yeah.
Yeah, DIY virtual reality. So, yeah, I used to be really into that. And I noticed that, like, a lot of websites would say, like, if you try to teach yourself to lucid dream, a lot of it is like keeping your mind awake while your body goes to sleep, and that can cause sleep paralysis. So I don't necessarily think that I got it a lot during that time, but I think that I taught myself almost to go to sleep in a certain way that made me more like perceptive to having it. So, I mean, I've had a bunch. I mean, they're always fucking creepy because you see shit that's not there. You can't move. You can't scream. The worst one that I had was when I was living in the duplex with Christy like 2 years ago, and I was sleeping. Obviously, I was asleep in the bed next to Christy, and like our door to our bedroom opened up to the hallway, and across the hallway was like doors to two other bedrooms. So, they weren't bed. We didn't use them as bed. That doesn't even fucking matter. 2 other rooms. So. I wake up and I can't move and I can't talk. And I'm trying to talk to Christy, and you know, you just wake up and you, like, when you have sleep paralysis, you feel nervous even if nothing's going on. So I'm like panicking and I'm scared and I'm trying to move, but I'm telling myself, this is sleep paralysis. This is sleep paralysis. Like, I know what this is. I've done this before. Chill out. So I just close my eyes and I open my eyes to see if it's done yet. And in the room across the hall, I could see a shadowy figure. Like, it looked like this thing was probably like 7 feet tall, just pure shadows and almost like static. Like, I could see through it a little bit. It was weird. Like, it had some sort of texture floating around in it. And it was like walking by the door. And then it's like whenever I saw it, it saw me, and it turned its head and it looked at me. And when it did, it was like a fast zoom. It was like a smash zoom right in onto its face. And it was like we were, like, I mean, similar to your story, it was like we were face to face, and I just closed my eyes really fast. And I just kept my eyes closed for probably a whole minute. And then I finally opened it up, and then I could move again and talk and stuff. And I was like, oh, fuck, sleep paralysis.
That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Also, don't mind me. My computer's like, disk almost full. I'm like, you better not stop recording. I swear to God. So I'm just moving some stuff. But that's really scary. Somebody draw that. No, don't actually.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Wait, have you ever seen that comic? I don't know what it's called, but it's like the blank, blank, blank ghost. And it's like a web comic. And you scroll through it, and it's about this woman who's lost her baby. Or this ghost that hangs around, and she's lost her baby, and she'll like walk around and scream, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby?"
No, that sounds terrifying.
Oh my God, Aaron, you have to read it. It is so fucking scary. I don't think that I've ever been, there are very few times in my life can I recall being as scared as when I read that alone in my room in the middle of the night. Like, it's fucking awful.
What is it like a creepypasta?
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's like, I think it's like a Japanese legend that they turned into a comic. Mm-hmm. There's a few other, but there's like a twist to the comic that I don't want to ruin, but you wouldn't be expecting it, and it's what makes it so fucking creepy. Actually, I'm going to ruin it. Spoilers.
Please do.
At one point, you think you're reading, you're reading this comic, and you think you're just looking at pictures. One of them's a GIF, and it
I hate that
sound.
No, I hate it.
It's awful.
Oh
yeah.
No.
And it is a GIF of a dead person running at you.
Unsubscribe.
Are you kidding me? You say GIF?
Of course. It's a G. Of course I say GIF.
Well. Tight.
I like how it's going to go from like ghost stories to this for everyone else.
Tight.
As I suspected, my computer ran out of storage, so it stopped recording like midway. So now, I also don't know how much time we've been. ASMR. It's fine.
That was so much louder than I thought it was going to be.
But yeah, sorry, so now there's gonna be like a brief break in the recording, but it should be fine for you all. It's gonna suck dick for us, but for you all, it should be fine. Hopefully, the image all looks the same and stuff. What are you? Welcome back to our ASMR podcast. This week we have Ty eating pretzel balls.
That's right, man. That's it.
Really?
Got it. Yep.
Wow, pretzel balls.
They castrate them at birth, and then their balls still grow even after they're taken off of the pretzel, which is the most amazing thing about it.
Wow, science
once they're
is beautiful.
Fully grown, they jar them up and they send them to me.
Shit, I don't even remember what we were talking about. Like, I know it was ghost stories, but I feel like we were in the middle of something, and then my computer was like, okay, bye.
Sleep paralysis.
Yeah, wow, you're good.
XYZ.
You're good. For a guy with lots of pretzel balls in your mouth, you're following along very closely.
Happy Pride.
Shit, yeah, I was gonna talk about, so when I have sleep paralysis, two things happen. So the first is I usually always I have like one relative who died who I was like relatively close to. Not like close, but like immediate family type close. Like we weren't, it was my dad's brother. He passed away when I was like 16 or 17. And it's the only person that I ever really knew closely who passed away. And it was like really weird for me because I was like, it was just a strange experience when I was younger.
Of course.
And when I have sleep paralysis, there are times where I see him, and it's so distinctly different from when I see anyone else, like in my dreams. It feels different. I can't explain. And it always leaves me feeling really strange. So I'm like, part of me is like, did I see a ghost? And like, he'll often cry when I see him in my like sleep. Like, it's really weird. The way I remember him, he used to like be very smiley and very like I have a lot of his expression with like the really like small eyes, and the when you smile, the eyes disappear type thing. He had that expression a lot and used to laugh a lot. So he always looked like, but every time he's in my sleep paralysis, he has that expression like he's laughing, but he's crying. And it's so weird. It always just really shakes me to the core when I see him. Oh, and my other sleep paralysis demon is I'll think that I'm awake and I'm in bed, and then I realize I can't move, and I'm like, oh, this. And then I see someone like trying to push through the wall. Like it's always
shit. Here we go again.
That. Yeah. Oh no, Louis, please. Okay, well, that's happening.
He's
now.
fine. I like that sound. That's nice. So it's like the scene from A Nightmare on Elm Street where Freddy like comes through the wall, and they use like the latex wall, and he's like that. Is that what you see?
I feel like I've never watched Nightmare on Elm Street because I'm trashy, and I don't like horror movies.
Yes, dude. Come on.
I remember when we were in Philly, we went and go watch It together, but I had never actually seen the original one. So you were like giving this in-depth review about how it's like, oh, interesting. I guess they're going to divide the part where they were kids from that. And I'm like, yeah. And you're like, yeah, because in the original, you're like super in-depth. And I'm like, I never watched It. And it looked like I slapped you. You're like, I'm sorry, what? You never watched?
That was weird to hear, but it's okay.
And I also remember trying, like I'm there, like my girlfriend right next to me, and I'm trying to like not be a big baby about it, but there's like a scary scene, so I'm like looking really intently on like the exit, like, wow, this is a beautiful sign, because I'm like, I just don't want to look at the screen. I was trying to be subtle about it, so I was just watching the movie like this, because I was like, I just want to watch it from my peripheral vision. I don't want any of those. Yeah,
that's so funny.
I'm not good at horror movies.
Dude, I love horror movies.
Louis, please. I'll pay you to just not do that. What's your favorite horror movie?
No, we're not doing this. This has got to be its own podcast.
I'm like, yeah, there are like 3, right?
No.
There's A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Corpse Bride.
Tim Burton is my favorite horror director. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I really love Johnny Depp in that Edward Scissorhands fellow.
Holy shit. More ghosts. Let's do ghosts.
More ghosts?
Yeah, I would definitely like to talk about horror. Oh, I could ad nauseum, but that's not right now. We're gonna do that later.
Okay, cool.
Because we're 30 minutes into this, and it would take me more than 30 minutes to talk about anything relative to that.
That's impressive. That's passion.
Thanks, man. I feel it in my heart.
So a lot of the ghost stories I have come from like my mom, because she's the one who's just like, I talk to dead people. I'm like, that's a thing to do. So when she was younger, they would always like own a bakery and live above the bakery. Like that's just there was a business and an apartment on top.
Like Bob's Burgers.
Literally exactly like that, actually. You okay? Vape too dank. Oh shit. Don't vape in podcast, kids. This is a PSA.
Sorry about
That's
that.
fine.
I'm really sorry, everyone.
No, you're good. So yeah, there was this one place they lived in with like a storage room that was like notoriously haunted, and there was like this woman that my mom would see in the window all the time, and no one would ever want to go in there. So it was her and her 3 brothers, and they would each take turns having to be the one to like bring the supplies to that room at the end of the day. And my mom is the youngest, but the youngest of the brothers. It was his turn to bring the stuff in, and when he went in, he saw the ghost lady, and he got scared. So he put his arm in front of his eyes like this, and then walked in because he didn't want to look at her. And the next day, he had like a huge like pus-filled thing on his arm, and he still has this like giant scar from where he had to have surgery to have it like drained. I don't know, like this, but like it was overnight, and like I was just like, that's spooky. It's a scary story because my uncle has the scar, and I'm like, no fucking way, and it just like popped out of nowhere. I'm like, oh shit,
fuck that. I don't like that.
Right?
I don't want that. I don't trust like
No,
that.
thank you. I would like to pass. I feel like I smell an Italian ghost. It smells like garlic. Where is that coming from?
You know what? That's what I've smelled in my apartment the last few days too. I mean, not in my apartment, but in the hallway. And even everyone that I've had here has been like, I thought you were cooking something. Fucking no. And I'm the only one in here, so I don't know what's going on.
You're sending me your garlic ghost. Keep it in Arkansas.
It's
coming through the microphone.
Yeah, it's because you started talking about the ghost, and then like you put out that energy, and now it's like perceptive to that, so it's gonna follow it.
Stop, I hate it. It smells like garlic, but not even like someone's cooking with garlic. It smells like somebody's just like slicing garlic in front of me. You know, like that fresh garlic smell. Kylam, leave your brothers alone. Hang on, I just need to... Wait, I let you in here because I thought you would behave.
You thought wrong.
Okay. Sorry for all that noise. I feel like I've blocked out a lot of my ghost memories because they scare the shit. I didn't sleep alone until I was like 14 because I was afraid of the dark and afraid of ghosts.
Yeah.
This one time at a Halloween party, my friends were playing with a Ouija board. And they did that every year. My mom was always like, don't touch those things. So I wouldn't touch those things. But one day they're playing at the Halloween party, they're playing with the Ouija board. And then they asked that one question that like you're not supposed to ask. And it's like, give us a sign. And the staircase outside that was made of stone collapsed. And they have a picture. There's a picture in front of it, in front of the staircase. So that's another one. I'm just like, I'm never going to use a Ouija board. They scare the heck out of me. Have you ever? Shit. I'm sure you have. I feel like you have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, several times. I've had some weird answers. One time, the most recent time that I played with one, and this has been the last time, we asked, I don't know, we were asking the board some questions and we were like getting answers or whatever. It was like a group of us and we had been out drinking and then we went back to a friend's house and they had a Ouija board, or maybe they didn't have one and we made one. I've made a few before too, so it's hard to say. But the answer that was like, okay, I think I'm good now, I'm done. It was like telling me basically things about my life, and I was asking it like questions about my life and it was able to answer, and like people in my life and stuff. And I was still low-key like, okay, I don't know if I trust it because maybe it's like a psychological thing, like maybe I'm unintentionally like moving this stuff where I think it should be going, I don't know. But there's also other people involved, and at this point nobody else knew these answers, it was just me. So I asked it like what its name was, and it said the name of my great aunt who passed away, but it spelled it wrong. It spelled the name wrong. And so I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah. And maybe your friends knew that someone passed away and they were fucking with you, or maybe the ghost was like
they passed
dyslexic. I'm allowed to say that.
She passed away when I was like really young. I mean, not really young, but like a lot earlier than I knew any of these people. Not someone that any of these people would know about. So it still could have been psychological. Like it could have been in my mind. I could have been the one doing it, but I don't think that I was, because I would like make a point to take my hands off of it sometimes just to see if it would still go.
That's scary.
It's weird. I don't know if I believe it, but like it happened. I don't know. Yeah, maybe the ghost was dyslexic. I don't know. It was fucked up.
Nobody gets to get mad because I'm legitimately dyslexic. So, yeah, just in case someone's like, meh, meh, and I'm like, I made that joke. So, listen, yeah, to this day, it's like I want to try a Ouija board, but I'm scared because my mom was always like, don't do those things. They follow you forever. And I'm like, what? No, I don't want to. No, thank you. But yeah, they seem so fun. I have this thing where I'm just like, I want to go ghost hunting. It looks like fun, but then I'm also like, I can't even watch ghost hunting shows because I get terrified. But I'm just very curious about like the paranormal.
I feel that.
I love that movie, Paranormal Activity. When you're paranoid and doing
it's something spooky. It's paranoid. I have on multiple occasions like looked up different ghost hunters and stuff, and there are a few groups like local to me that actually do ghost hunting. So you know what? I bet you could Google like where are you, Montreal? You could Google Montreal ghost hunters, and you could probably find plenty of people that you could go and
there's a lot
watch or help or whatever.
There is, even on Halloween, they do like a haunted tour because Montreal is really old, and we have one part of Montreal called Old Montreal. I know the name is. It's so clever.
I wasn't expecting that.
No, a twist. And they bring you to all these like old buildings and like, I don't know, castles, or like places where the people have been hung and they're like known to be haunted. And like I want to go. except I'm a big baby. So I don't know. Maybe one day if you come to Montreal during the spooky season, we could go together. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah. This one time, I have this memory. My mom my mom waxes people. That's also her other job. She's a medium and also an esthetician. Her side job.
Wow. What can't she do, man?
She also cuts hair. So my mom once had this client come in and she goes into the room. She's like, don't come in. I'm like, okay, cool. So I sit at the kitchen table and I hear someone behind me. So I turn around and I don't see anyone. So I'm immediately scared and I like pull my knees up on the chair. And then I turn back around, like facing the table, not facing like the drawers and the counters and stuff. And I hear banging and I turn around and I see the drawers swing open. Like the cabinet stayed closed, but like all the drawers swung open and stuff fell out onto the floor. And my mom got really mad because she's like, I'm working with hot wax in here. Don't make noise. But I was just like, it wasn't me. And I just have this really vivid memory of watching it swing open and being like, what the fuck was that? And like, why, if it was a ghost, why wouldn't I see the ghost? Anyway, so
oh my God.
That's another one. Another vivid one that I'm like, there has to be an explanation, but I don't know what it is. Oh, I remember one. Okay, they're all repressed. Okay, once I used to fall asleep on the couch a lot because I was afraid to sleep alone. So I would go to like the family room or wherever everyone else was, wherever there's someone else awake, and I would sleep there like a cat. And I fell asleep on the couch and my parents were trying to get me to go to my bed and I didn't want to. I wanted to stay in the living room.
I was always like that as a kid too. I never wanted to go sleep in my bed. I always had to be around people.
Yeah, I was like, I just want to sleep over here. So they were bringing me to my room, and I'm shuffling to my room, and we walk by the kitchen, and I point under the chair, and I thought it was my brother sitting under the chair, and I'm like, why doesn't he have to go to bed? And then they turn on the lights, and it's not my brother. It's this fucking pale-ass skinny kid, but like no one else saw him. So that's another memory that my parents write off as like, maybe we're just tired, but I was like, I saw this skinny child under the chair.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did it just stay there? Like when you walked out of the room, was it still there?
No, it's one of those like I saw it in the dark. They turn on the lights. I look, I see it very vividly, and then I like freak out. But then when you look back, it's gone. I was like, oh, well.
Oh my goodness.
That's why my parents were like, you were probably sleeping. I was like, but I wasn't. I was walking.
Ooh.
So.
Fuck that.
Yeah, right? Ghosts are assholes. It smells so strongly of garlic, it's legitimately like making me paranoid. I'm like, it's the garlic ghost.
The garlic ghost. No, I'm sure it's not the garlic ghost, man. Do you have neighbors?
Yeah, they're old Italians.
They're probably cooking some garlic then.
You're not wrong. No, I know. I would rather blame the garlic ghosts.
I have more scary stories that might be ghost stories.
Go ahead.
So one that I remember pretty well is that when I was younger, my mom was with this guy and we were staying at that guy's mom's house. Like she lived on a farm or something. So we went to go like stay there for the night and like hang out on the farm or whatever the fuck. So we went over there and I was sleeping in a room, and this was kind of a pretty old place, and it's like far out in Oklahoma. And I guess it's known for being like near a lot of like Native American sites or whatever. And so they, I don't know. Nothing was weird until like I went to sleep and I woke up in the middle of the night to this woman that came into my room, and she was like an older woman, and I didn't really recognize her, but I didn't know a lot of the people there. So I didn't know who all was there, if it was someone that lived there, if I was in their room. Like I didn't really know the situation very well because like it was, so far removed from, like I'd never been there before. There was people around I didn't know. So she comes in my room and it's like the middle of the night and I'm tired, and I just like wake up enough to see her walk in and like kneel on the bed beside me and like kind of puts her arm on the bed, and like, the weight from her arm like moves the blanket and stuff, like she's there. And she starts asking me about questions about my sister, but she thinks it's me. She's like, oh, are you the one that's going to study in Hawaii? I heard about that. That's so interesting. And I was like, no, you're thinking of my sister. And then like I was dozing off and she was like, I'll let you get some sleep. And she got up and walked out. And I was like, okay, this fucking old lady, thanks. I go back to sleep. And in my dream, I have a dream where I'm at this railroad station, or like, on a railroad by a train station. And there's this man, this tall man with a trench coat and a hat and big boots on. And he walks up to me and he was like, I believe you were talking to my wife. And I was like, okay, tight, thanks. And, just like, that's the end of that dream. Like I didn't say anything to him. I don't know. That's where the dream ended. And then I woke up the next morning and I asked my mom. I was, I didn't think either of those things were necessarily significant, but I asked my mom who the lady was that came in and talked to me. And then I guess I told her what she looked like. And my mom told her boyfriend's mom, whose house it was, what I had seen. And she said, yeah, like we have this couple that we see around the house a lot. It's this, this older woman and her husband who like wears a trench coat and like a hat. And, people have seen him walk through this house. Like it's actually pretty common because they were a big family. There was a lot of people that lived there. Mm. And so then my mom comes back to me and she's like, apparently there's this couple, it's a man and a woman. And so then I described the man that I saw in my dream. And she was like, yeah, that's exactly the man that that's what the woman said he looked like. And I was like, oh, weird. And then I came to find out, not in that weekend, but later on, because I was like, I want to fucking leave. This sucks. I don't want to see ghosts at night.
Fuck that.
But I found out later that like they see a lot of stuff there. It's like directly built on like Native American territory, and there's like these graveyards and stuff around there that are all really known for having a lot of activity. And basically everywhere you live, there's like dead people there, like like buried in that area. So it's all like a lot of spooky stuff apparently happens.
And you're here living inside a church.
Yeah, and here I am in the church.
Here you are in your spooky house.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, what if I was dreaming? Like, what if I heard them talk about that and then I dreamt about it? But then I don't remember that happening. I remember it happening the way that I remember it. Yeah, it's just like I really want there to be a reason that makes it make sense, but I can't find one. So I'm just like, I don't fucking know.
Well, yeah, because when it happens to you, you're like, it's not like it suddenly everything turns like bright green and like weird, like everything looks the same. So it happens and it feels like a regular mundane experience, but you're like, that was weird. That was not very easy to explain. Yeah. So yeah, it's usually in hindsight they're like, no, that was spooky. That was probably a big spooky.
Right. Yeah. That's how it's kind of been every time. There was one time when my mom and dad had first gotten divorced, and like my mom moved out, and this was when I was really young and my sister was really young, and she moved into an apartment. And I don't remember like anything else from living at that apartment, but I remember this. I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and my sister was in one room and my mom was in another room. And they were like, both the doors to the rooms were behind me, and like my sister was trying to get my attention. So I turned around and I saw her, and she was like wearing this really gross mask that scared me because I was really scared of zombies as a kid. And so her mask like looked like a zombie mask, and it scared me. So I ran into my mom to tell my sister, to be like, this bitch, can you believe this shit? Mm-hmm. And when I went in there, she was talking to my sister, and they were both in there. And I was like, Cassie just tried to scare me. Like she just put on a mask and tried to scare me in the room. Like she was, and I was mad at her. And I was telling her like, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have scared me. You knew I'd be scared. And I'm telling my mom on her. Mm-hmm. And they're both like, no, Cassie's been here the whole time. We've both been in the same room. And so, I tell my mom what I saw, and she's in there like looking for someone, thinking someone's in the house.
Yeah, that's the thing about these stories. It's like parents think that there's an intruder in the house, and you're like, nope, I'm just seeing things. It's fine.
Yeah. So that one is pretty vivid too. Fucked me up.
I remember when I used to live at my dad's, when my parents weren't divorced, it was a pretty like big-ish house. I guess the division was like very spread apart, and there was an alarm system. And I get home and I disarm the alarm system, but I hear something upstairs, and I know my parents aren't home because I was just on the goddamn phone with them, and I know my brother's not home either. It's Friday night. So I turn back on the alarm, but I only have it set to the doors and windows. So I'm just like, if anyone opens anything, it's like, if they get out, then I'll know they're getting out. But I was like, I need to be able to move around the house. With the regular alarm on, you can't move. There's motion sensors. And I'm looking, and I look literally fucking everywhere. And I'm like, in the basement, when you come in, because you come in from the basement for the alarm, one side of the basement was my mom's hair salon. The other side of the basement was my dad's, like, man cave, I guess. He had his workout machines, his computer, and then his collection of medieval weapons on a brick wall. So it looks like a fucking dungeon. Anyway, I grabbed the only one that's sharp, because most of them are decorative and aren't sharpened, but there was one that was like this axe with like a spear at the top, I was like, I know that one's sharpened, so I grabbed that one. Checking all around the house because I guess I plan on axing this person to death.
That's dope, dude.
Literally, there's no one anywhere. So then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna check the rooms in the basement because I was just like, what if they came around when I was going upstairs? Fuck, that scared the shit out of me. God damn it.
Scared me a little bit too.
Oh, god damn it. It's okay. It's just Amazon. They're gonna leave the package. My heart is inside my mouth.
That was a visible jump that I saw there from you.
Oh man, it's because it was so loud, and then it goes through this and into my ears. I was like, oh, I'm having flashbacks.
Holy fuck!
So I go downstairs and I check we have a canteen. I don't know if that's an Italian thing. It's like a cold
something
basement
you put water in?
room. No.
Okay. I don't know what
it's a cold room in the basement where you hang sausages to dry. Yeah, everyone has one of those.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had one.
So I go into the canteen.
Okay.
I go into the cold room. I put my hand on the door and I'm just like, they're probably, if they're anywhere, they're in there. And I'm not going to leave them in there. So I'm ready with my fucking axe. And I open the door, but the thing is, the alarm system is set to the doors and windows that lead outside, except that one. That one is set to also be one of the doors and windows because realistically, none of us are going to be going into there at night. So if that door opens, it's trouble. So I open it and there isn't even a warning. The alarm immediately starts going off. But I thought, much like that doorbell, I thought I was going to die on the spot. It just scared the living shit out of me. Moral of the story, either somebody broke in and out of my house without touching or leaving anything, or there was a ghost that fucked with me. And then I just got my ass scared and the alarm went off and I was like, it's just loud. The loud noises scare me, as you probably could tell. Yeah. Don't like them.
Big spoop.
There was... Sorry. Excuse me. Hang on.
You're fine.
I'm good. What was it? There was one... Shit. Oh, I was so excited to tell you and I can't remember anymore. Oh.
Damn. Well?
Oh, what was it?
Give me some spoops.
I'm trying to remember...
I have some more weird stuff about my grandparents' house I could share with you.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to remember what I wanted to say.
It might jog your memory.
Yeah.
So, my grandparents had this photo in their back bathroom that they had gotten from my Nana's mom's house. And it looked exactly like my sister did, when she was 14 or 15. But it was there all of our lives. And then we grew up and the woman in the photo looked just like my sister. And it wasn't anyone we were related to. It was just a painting. There was a lot of stuff going on in the painting. It's like someone playing a piano and people dancing. And the main subject of the photo looked just like my sister.
That's really weird. I don't like that.
Isn't that strange? And we had it that whole time.
Is your sister Keanu Reeves? Was it that painting?
She might be. She might be one of those time travelers or warlocks or whatever he is.
I'm really upset that I'm trying to remember my story, but I just...
Come on, get it back.
Can't. Oh, what was it? God damn it.
I have some more spooky stories about my grandparents. If you want to keep brainstorming, we can do that.
Yeah, I'm going to keep trying to remember because I can't get past it.
So
go on.
When I lived there the last time, right before I got my own place, it was the first time I had lived there since I was a kid. So I didn't really think much of all the spooky stuff that happened when I was a kid. Going into it, I was just that was just my imagination. I was just scared of stuff, whatever. But living there was so fucking freaky. I had this exact computer setup that I have now, which is just my monitor and, it's just a desktop. So you got your speakers and all your shit. So I had that set up there and I've had this whole setup for years. I got it when I was in high school and I've just, still always had it. So I've had it different places. I've moved a few times with the same desktop, but at my grandparents' house, and this is the only time leading up to it and the only time since, for some reason, I would get this weird feedback through my computer speakers, even when everything was off at the weirdest fucking times. And it would sound like whoop, 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 whoop. It would do that, but it would sound like a voice sometimes. Not all the time, but just sometimes. And I would wake up to it making that sound sometimes, and I would
It was fucking spooky. Like, I can't describe it. I didn't do anything like, is there a ghost here? Make my speakers go if yes. I didn't say any shit like that. So I don't know. I never tried to test it, but it happened. Not every day, but like, it was like, also when it happened was random too. So it wasn't like I could say, oh, at a certain time, like if the AC kicks on, it does this. Like, no. It would just fucking do it.
Yeah, when I had a PC, it used to do weird shit like that. Like and it was always at night, and the speakers would just make these weird sounds. I'm like, could you fucking not? That's also why I always unplug my printer, because I'm like, for some reason, printers decide to check if they're okay at like 3 a.m, and I'm like, don't, no.
Sorry, folks, I had to make us pause for a moment. There was a ghost in my house, and I had to go get it.
Good. Oh man, good save. It's such a sick save.
So, figured that one out. Done.
I've given up on my memory. I'm pretty confident that whatever it was probably wasn't interesting enough to remember. I literally can't remember what it was.
That's unfortunate, because I would have liked to have heard about it. But if we're not going to talk about that, I need to know about the meat room, the cold room, the sausage room. What is it? What's it called? A canteen?
A canteen.
What is that? What's going on? I want to know everything. I can't get it off my mind.
You don't have any cold. Well, of course you don't have a cold room. It's Arkansas. It doesn't get cold.
We have an Arkansas. We have a refrigerator.
We have a refrigerator. It gets cold. Room. I feel like it might be like an Italian Canadian thing. I think that it might just be that. So it gets really cold here in winter, and basically if you have part of the basement that you don't heat and that's not like super well insulated, it's just, I mean, like it's ceramic walls, so it's always cold because it's underground, especially during winter. During winter it's like a freezer. During summer it's just kind of like a moderately cold room, kind of like a fridge. But it's just like naturally occurring. And so when you make the sopressat, what you do is you tie it, and then you tie it to the prosciutto. You tie it to a string, you tie it to the ceiling, and then you let it dry in there, and it ages. You also put your wine in there. It's like a wine cellar.
Wait,
if you make your own wine,
you age meat in there?
Yeah, you cure the meat. When you make like prosciutto, any cured meat, or like sopressat, sorry, I'm not talking about you. I call him sopressat because he looks like a long sausage sometimes. That's so cute. You treat the meat with salt to cure it, to let it cook with the salt, but that takes time. It doesn't, the salt will trigger warning graphic a bit, but you make sure that there's no blood left in the meat, but any remaining blood is basically like dried out with the salt that you put into it. So as it's getting cured, like that's how you know. If the meat is too wet or spongy, or even just a little bit like if there's any blood, then the meat isn't ready yet. I mean, granted, I made it when I was like a kid with my grandfather, but it's not like me and my meat cellar. But yeah, where else were you gonna hang your sausage? You're not gonna hang your sausage in your kitchen. That'd be ridiculous.
That makes sense. I would not say that you should hang it in your kitchen, man. Mm-hmm. What the fuck? Okay. I just never knew that like part of making any of the meats was to leave them hanging somewhere for a long time. No, that's so wild to think of. I mean, I've seen it in movies, like shit's hanging around, but I don't know. I guess I never thought about it.
Yeah, kind of like a low budget meat locker.
And it's just normal for everyone to have a room like this in their house?
Not everyone, but in my neighborhood, like in St. Leonard, every place, like if I go outside, there's an extra room like under the stairs where my landlord, like only he has access to it. I don't, but that would be his cold room, except his isn't like, during the summer, I don't think his stays cold because his is above ground. It's under the stairs. An actual cold room is supposed to be underground. And because it's underground, it stays cold all year. So,
wow. Yeah,
you learn something every day.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. Fuck.
Oh, excuse me, pardon me. So I could tell like ghost stories that aren't mine, just like scary ghost stories that I've read, because I think my ghost story is lost forever. Or like stories that scared me when I was a kid. I think that was one of them. I wanted to tell a scary story.
There.
Do you have any stories you remember reading or like hearing when you were a kid that just like stuck with you? Because I have a couple of those that just freaked me out.
There is a creepypasta. Well, first of all, that comic that I suggested earlier, I found that when I was like 14 and I was stoned and I was alone in the middle of the night, and it scared the shit out of me because it was a comic with a fucking GIF and sound in it and like a full-on jump scare. But anyways, that one for sure. There was also the creepypasta about like the hotel where the guy checks in and he looks through the door and it's red. That
man, I love that story.
I read that one also. Well, yeah, that was about the same time. I was probably like 12.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that was one of the like. Yeah. I remember reading that, and it's like it's so. I guess it's different because some people don't always see things like in their head, but like you're reading it and like you're imagining it, right? So you're picturing that red dot. You know what? I'm just gonna tell the story on the podcast. Do y'all want to hear a story?
Let's hear it.
I'm sure everyone's heard it, but okay. So this is my own rendition, Cliff Notes. So this guy. Actually, this one time I read a version of it where it's the same thing except they made it Russian, so he just calls everyone like comrade. And it's just so it was such a good like knockoff of the story. Like, here's your key, comrade. Anyway, so there's this guy who checks into this hotel, and the person at the front desk gives him his key, and he goes up and he hears strange noises at night, and he's having trouble sleeping, so he goes downstairs to complain about the noises in the room across from him. And then they're like, well, there's nobody in the room across from you. So he goes back and he continues to hear noises. Listen, I might not be saying it perfectly, but it's a version.
You've missed a few things, but that's fine. We still get the point.
This is I'm just trying to get the point. This is Cliff Notes. So he goes back to his room and he continues to hear noises, and he's like, bullshit, there's for sure someone in that room. So he tries to look through the peephole, can't see shit because the peephole goes one way. So then he bends down and he looks through the keyhole, and all he sees is red. So he's like, okay, well, fuck that. So then he goes back to bed, and the next day when he's checking out, he's telling the person at the checkout counter, he's just like, you told me there was no one in that room, but I continued to hear noises. And when I looked in there, there was red. So clearly someone had put something on the doorknob. And then she went like white, like a ghost. And then he's like, well, what about it? And then she's like, well, there's a story. I know there was no one in that room because we never rent that room out. And the rumor has it that there was a man there, and he killed his wife. And so now, the room has been said to be haunted, so they make sure not to rent it. But a couple of people have said that they saw someone in that room. And he's like, okay. And he's like, well, it's a woman, and her skin is like pale white, but her eyes are like blood red. And that's it. That's the whole story. And then you realize when he was looking through the keyhole, he was eye to eye with the scary lady.
Yeah.
And I hate it because it's so like you're envisioning it, and then like it gets to the end and you're like, oh, and you're like, oh.
Now let me ask you this. And this isn't to a point on like how you told the story, but maybe we've heard different versions.
I have no idea.
Whenever I read it, I remember that the guy checked the woman's room the first night and just saw a woman sitting in the corner crying. And that's why he was like, there is someone in this room. And then he checked it again, and all he saw was red. And that's why he realized, like, he saw the pale white woman. And then when she tells him that, oh, the eyes are red, he realizes that was that woman's eye. Was that in the one?
You're right. There was
a version where he like did see the woman in there first and then saw the eye the next time.
Yes, exactly. That was like he checked and he saw her in there, and that's why he was just like, what the fuck? And then he went back up and he's like, no, but there was someone in there, and he checks and it's like, huh, just red. But yeah, but there are a lot again, my favorite, the random one that's like, thank you, comrade. And I'm like, the nice spin. Good, creative.
Thank you, comrade.
But yeah, no, that's one of my favorite scary stories because it took me like a good, like, there's like a 5-second pause when it ends where you're like, and then you're like, oh no, I don't like it.
Oh yeah, that one made my stomach drop too. I don't like that one.
Yeah.
That
the scary stories. I remember what?
Well, I thought of another thing that happened when I was at my grandparents'. The most recent time I lived there. So Christy would come over. This is when we were kind of first dating, like within the first couple months of our relationship. And she'd come over and hang out sometimes. And one time, my grandparents had gone to the casino. And so we were home alone. And we were just like laying in bed, just hanging out, watching a movie. And outside of my room, like my window, there's like the back area, like behind the house, but it's like fenced in. There's like a pool, and then beyond that is woods. And so it's like mostly there's like a fence there, so people don't just go in there. But we heard like a loud scream from outside of there. It sounded like a woman crying, like really loud. And so I didn't I don't know, I tried not to make a big deal out of it, but like we both heard it, and it was very loud and very creepy. And so I went out to check, and no one was back there. And that was there was like nobody home. So yeah, Christy and I were thoroughly freaked the fuck out at that scream. But like, I was so used to seeing and hearing things there that I just pretended weren't happening. Like, it took me a minute to be like,
yeah,
oh shit, am I the only one? Like, for Christy to actually witness that too was like a really big deal.
Yeah, it was weird when Karina moved in, because like, again, I'm used to spooky shit happening, and I'm not super like, I don't know. It's like that time where I was just like, yeah, I heard someone singing in my closet, got close to it. I was like, there's definitely someone singing in here. And I walked away. And then my friend came out with the baby. Like, it was dark in there. So I was trying to put the baby to sleep. She's like, you didn't even flinch. I'm like, no. I was like, I recognize that there's singing in there, and I don't want to know where it's coming from. And I was like, that's how you know you're just like jaded. You're like, yeah, no, life is scary. There is no joy. But my girlfriend moved in, and like, things could happen. It's like, I don't know, there's a crashing sound in the kitchen. And then she's like, what was that? I was like, probably the cat. And like, the cat's sitting on my chest. She's like, but Kylem's right here. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Nobody could get in anyway. She's like, don't you? I'm like, no, I really don't. I'm like, it's probably, I know nobody could get in. There are all of like 2 windows. We're in a semi-basement apartment. There are 2 windows, one of which we're looking at. The other one cannot be opened. So I'm like, unless it was glass breaking, which it wasn't. It just sounded like stuff falling. And I go in the kitchen, and it's just like fucking the garbage can fell over and stuff. I was like, I don't know how it fell over. The cat wasn't there, but do I care? Not entirely. Not really. No. So I'd rather just stay in bed. One time when I first moved in here, my mom does a lot of like guided meditation and like stuff, and like talks to angels and all that good stuff. And like, you know, anyway, it's a thing. And I used to be really into it. And once she was here and she was doing like her whole thing, and I walk outside my bedroom door, and in my hallway I see this like just huge light thing, like shaped like light with a little ball at the top, and like it goes out kind of like triangular shaped. And it didn't really faze me because of like the state that I was in. But my mom was just like, it's an angel. And I'm like, it's like 12 feet tall though. She's like, yeah, angels are really like, I was like, I'm sorry, what? So angels, apparently, according to my mom, angels are like 12-foot tall beings made of light. And I was like, cool, good. Except I feel like maybe if you see big lights, you should get your eyes checked, because that's probably not a sign of something good happening. But like, I just remember that being like, it was hilarious to me though. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? They're 12 feet? I remember what I wanted to tell you. Ooh. Oh my God, I remember now, because I remember that made me think of it. Okay.
You saw a tall angel?
No. Okay. There was, it's scary. Okay. There was this guy who, this is a real thing. There was a police report about it. He heard something in his house, and it was a couple of times like at around the same time he'd hear things in his house, and he thought there was someone, like a squatter in his house, someone who was breaking in regularly, like raiding his fridge. He didn't know what it was. So
that was my first thought. There's someone that lives in his attic.
That's what he thought. So this time he goes out and he films it. And he's looking everywhere, and he looks in the corners, and like it's dark, but like he would be able to see if there's a figure, right? Because he has a flashlight. And he posted online. And he's like, if you guys see anything, let me know. But like there's also a legitimate police report, because they thought that there was someone breaking into this house, and then maybe the squatter left when they heard him moving around. And he turned the footage into the police. But when the footage was brightened, you know, like when you have a dark video, you could like overexpose it, and then you could actually see things. Mm-hmm. When they lighten the footage, you see this, again, this is why there's a police report, because they think that it was a person, but it wasn't. In the corner, there's like this big shrouded black, like, I don't know, this person shrouded in like this black cloak, but like big, like huge, with like just a, like white face type thing, or like a white mask. So the reason there's a police report is because they think that it was someone hiding in the corner with a mask on. But like the size and the stature of the person is like, it doesn't seem like it would be a person. And also, anyway, it was just weird, because it was this thing where it's like, anytime that it's in the dark, like, I don't know what it was. They showed pictures too, that it's like there are other times he's taking pictures and it looks like there's nothing there. But when you look into the dark, there's always this thing, but it's just always just too dark. You have to actually work to get the image out. Anyway, it was so scary. And now every time I wake up at night and it's dark, you look in a corner, you're like, but what if there's something I can't see? Like, what if it's just, he looked right the fuck at it and he didn't see it? I'm like, I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't like, I think about it every time I go into like the bathroom at night and I keep the lights off and there's like a night light in the bathroom. And I'm like, no, just turn on the lights, wake me up. It's fine. I don't want to look into the shower and be like, but is there someone in there looking at me? I don't know.
I don't like the shower. I was always freaked out about there being like dead people in the shower when I was a kid.
Yeah, I started to get like so paranoid, partially because of what my mom does as a living. And I would think like, what if there's a ghost looking at me and I just can't see them, and I'd get really mad about it and then go away.
Get out of here.
So yeah, that's not.
I used to have my mom would sit in the bathroom while I would take a shower because I was always too scared to take a shower like for a while there because I literally always thought there was a ghost in there. And I'd be like, will you just sit in here and talk to me while I take this shower? And she would do it. It was really sweet.
It's so scary how similar. Like sometimes you say things about when you grew up and I'm like, were we the same teenager? Or you were just like, sometimes I'll be late to class because like, something with the posters, having like a number of like touching posters or whatever.
Yeah,
I was like, literally, the same thing. And it like, if it didn't feel evened out at the end, I'd have to start over and like, I'd be late to class because of that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, big same. Or like I had this thing where I felt like I had to make the highest note possible and the lowest. It was the most obnoxious tick I've ever had. And but I had to. Yeah, we would have been great friends.
Definitely. Been just like, oh shit, we're rounding up there, man.
So for this week's quiz, do you want it to be like, what psychic ability would you have, or do you want it to be like ghosty?
Let's do ghost. We've been talking about ghost.
What?
We're going BuzzFeed ghost
quiz. You sound like BuzzFeed ghost
something
quiz.
will come up. Which Haunting of Hill House ghost are you? I don't think so.
This one is BuzzFeed ghosts. What is that?
Ooh, what sort of ghost is haunting you? That's a quiz.
Good. I like that. Okay.
Okay. Cool. I will send you the link.
Okay, cool. I'll wait for the link then.
There you go.
There it is. So as always, the link to the quiz will be in the description. You could do the quiz at the same time as us and then let us know what you got on your quiz.
That's right.
Hell yeah. So pick a spooky house to live in. A medieval castle, an old lighthouse, Christ no, an abandoned country house, you mean Ty Turner's?
Yeah, me.
Or a large Victorian mansion.
Oh my god, that's like... I have to go with abandoned country house because there's so many of those where I live. Like I could easily be there. I'm kind of in one right now.
I feel like it's the easiest one. Like any of the other ones, I'm like, I feel like there could be ghosts in a different room and you wouldn't see them. I'm going to go with abandoned country house because I feel like
I think that's
take
the
them,
safest. You know? Have you ever seen Courage the Cowardly Dog? Come on, man. Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Well, shit. Okay, joke didn't land. We'll move on.
Pick an everyday household item that'll suddenly start moving of its own accord.
How about none of them? What the fuck?
An antique armchair, a vintage teapot, a broom, or an old pan. I'm going to say a broom because
broom would be the most entertaining.
And also, okay, first of all, Mickey Mouse, but also, like, I feel like that would be helpful. If you're moving a broom, whether you want to be a dick or not, you're helping me clean my house. So you know what? Thanks, Ghost.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm going to go with an old pan because I feel like that'd just be fun.
And scary.
Yeah, and scary.
Pick a spooky haunted item. An old book, a chess set, a boat in a bottle, or a china doll. Not the doll. That's terrifying.
Yeah, too much Uncanny Valley territory there. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah. I'm going to go with an old book.
I'm going to go with a boat in a bottle.
A haunted boat. Is it the boat or the bottle that's haunted?
Maybe it's just the bottle's haunted and it's mad that there's a boat inside of it.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too if there was a boat inside me. So you know what?
I feel like the boat in the bottle also would be the hardest. Like that ghost that is in a boat in a bottle would have to work really hard to end up in an abandoned house in the middle of the country. So
do you
they
think
deserve
it's a really small ghost living inside the boat?
Yeah,
it's like this is my home.
I live here. Chill out.
Pick a season: spring, summer, autumn, or winter.
Easy.
I really want to go with autumn. Autumn's the fucking best. Pick a century: 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, or 1900s.
They all sound bad.
I'm gonna go with 1900s because I'm gonna hope that I get like some 90s ghost with frosted tips.
There you go.
And that's my best bet. Who like sings Smash Mouth and it's like, is Smash Mouth still the best band of all time? I'm like, no.
Now it's Sugar Ray. So I'm gonna go with 1600s because that's when I feel like most of the ghosts are from. You never really like. You're making a point there. You always see ghosts from like old ass times, never from the 90s. I think my best bet of getting a ghost would be to go like where the most ghosts are.
Do you think in the 1600s, was that the Victorian era or like, nah, I wouldn't actually know.
I don't know enough about that. I just remember
feel like
Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1642.
You want Columbus to haunt you?
That might not be the right date.
I'm really bad at history.
I'm so bad at history too. But I think the 1600s is like, I don't know. I only know American history and it's all wrong anyway. So moving on.
Can I just, some of these advertisements next to the quiz, I don't know if you have the same one, but I have a man with his, like, in the fetal position on his bed with his ass up, staring at, like, a bottle.
Oh.
And it says, straight sex for men is very different from gay sex for men, and here's why. But I'm like, why that stock photo?
Because you've been looking that stuff up, haven't you, man?
Well, you're not entirely wrong, I guess. But
a bottle.
I've been making a lot of, like, pride specific videos, so I'm like, yeah, I mean gay shit for sure, but like, why that stock photo?
Screen cap it, put it in the chat.
I will
share your screen. I want to see it. I have ad block on.
Oh, ad block. Oh, okay. I know how to do that. I don't know how to do ad block. So.
Okay.
How do I hang on, shit. Okay. Desktop.
I just adjusted my video without even thinking about it. So randomly at some point in the podcast, my face might get cut off.
That's fine. Look, what has this straight man been through?
Weird.
Right?
This looks like some kind of medical photo.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what is happening? But
he's clearly uncomfortable.
Yeah, like not distressed, but maybe like confused. It looks like maybe it was like a stock photo for an enema, and I'm like, but are straight men just having enemas for fun? Anyway, that was the whole thing. I was just like, what does this have to do with anything?
Oh, excuse me.
So, pick an animal to see as a mysterious omen. A bat, a black cat, a stag, or a crow. I want a mysterious stag.
I want a bat. That's fucking cool.
I feel like that would be scary.
Deers are scary. Are you kidding me?
What? Deers are majestic and beautiful.
They scare me.
Wow, I'm fucking weak. Just kidding. Pick some weather, okay? Snow, rain, humid and hot, overcast and gloomy. I'd say snow. I love snow.
I'm gonna go with overcast and gloomy.
That's sad.
Well, it's a nice environment to take photos and videos in.
I guess if you're artsy. Finally, pick something to talk to your ghost. Wait, to talk to your ghost through. I thought you meant talk to your ghost about. It's like, so you read any good books? Have you ever listened to my favorite podcast?
Oh my god.
I would. Oh my god, I think a radio would be scary. Let's go. Your dreams, writing on the mirror. Okay, we're gonna go Ouija board because it's the most contained environment.
That makes sense. I was looking at this. And I was looking at the pictures without reading the words, so I was really trying to decipher what the lady in the bed was was doing to contact ghosts.
Here's your haunted lady in a bed.
Yeah, really. I'm gonna go with an old radio because that would be fucking creepy. I want to hear some shit. Oh, I got my answer.
Mm-hmm. You do.
What's yours?
I got a medieval king poisoned by his jealous brother. He is bitter to have been betrayed by his own brother, his flesh and blood. He hates the purgatory he lives in, yet his growing bitterness means he will never be free of it. He longs to be back with his beautiful queen, and for some reason you remind him of her. Wow. Okay.
Okay,
You just
wow.
misgender me, you prick. Go on.
Fuck that. What the fuck? Medieval king. You got a hardy sea captain who went down with his ship. That's dope. He is bitter that he was sunk by his greatest rival, and so close to the shores of his homeland, but he is proud he went down with his ship like a true captain. He respects you and sees a similar strength in you. He wants to teach you sea shanties and tell you tales of his life traveling the seven seas. I would love to learn some sea shanties.
I feel like this ghost suits you pretty well. I feel like mine sounds obnoxious.
Yeah, yours is a little creepy. Like he's I don't know.
An
I don't
angry
like
king.
yours.
I'm like, no.
Fuck that guy.
Cool. So let us know what you got. Who's haunting you?
Let us
Leave
know
that
in the comments. And if you're just
Let us know if you
listening to
agree.
this, just say it as loud as you can.
Just scream it. We'll hear you.
We'll figure it out. Thank you guys for listening. This has been my favorite podcast.
Tune in next week.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Happy Pride. Take care.